popular social media superstar, the renowned content creator, the serial risk taker, and undefeated fighter, introducing the problem child, Jake Paul!
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
That's right. It's all good. That ain't gonna do anything. You're doing really good. All right.
Before the fight was the early rounds could be decisive, and it is quite clear.
Leyenda continúa. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Valiant effort by both guys. Nothing was left in the corners. Nothing was left in the gym.
Jake, how'd you feel in there?
I just felt flat, man. Not my best performance. I guess that happens in the sport. You know, you got to peak right at the right moment. You only get one night, one chance, and I messed that up, I guess. Didn't think I'd ever have to make one of these videos, but it happens, I guess. This is still the best job in the world. Thank you all for the support. This was an amazing event, and I'll be back. No worries, cuz.
Jake, I know there was a lot of talk about him and his power. You took his shots pretty well and you knocked him
Yeah,
down.
no, his power wasn't that crazy. He just had good speed, good combinations, but Anderson and Tyron hit really hard, so I was used to that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Man, you got to take it on the chin, but it was good. Some good moments in there. I just really couldn't get my game plan working. But hey, man, this is what the sport's all about. You win some in glorious fashion, and you lose some. And like I said out there, judging about my losses, because I think he was just really well prepared, and I think it was more so.
With the showdown between Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. just days away, DAZN Boxing released an exclusive feature showcasing the duo, including direct interviews from special guests, further raising expectations. One notable voice was UFC fighter Arman Tsarukyan, who was completely fascinated by the 28-year-old boxer. Jake is a legend to start boxing so late, and still shows such good form isn't easy, he said. Paul's determination to prove the doubters wrong also impressed Tsarukyan. But what shocked him the most was Jake's agility and mobility. Despite his size, I'm surprised how big he is. He's huge and hits hard, Tsarukyan added, noting that Paul * moves like a real boxer. * he believes Jake is ready for the weekend and will emerge victorious. Looking at the statistics, it's hard to believe anyone would bet on Jake Paul to beat Chavez Jr. That said, given the Mexican fighter's recent performances in decline, one could certainly make a case for the YouTuber-turned-boxer.Saruk Ian isn't the only notable name siding with Paul. Recently, a 6th-division world boxing champion and combat sports icon made a bold prediction that shocked fans. Oscar De La Hoya, director of Golden Boy Promotions, will be closely watching the Paul vs. Chavez Jr. fight, especially with two of his fighters. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez and Floyd Schofield featured on the undercard. The event is also co-promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. A few days ago, De La Hoya added his own flair to Fight Week, delivering his predictions in true Golden Boy style, removing his robe and revealing his picks in his underwear. It's Fight Week. Jake Paul vs. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I'm giving you my predictions. Golden Boy style, baby. He said. As expected, De La Hoya favored Raul Carrillo, Floyd Schofield, and Zurdo Ramirez in the undercard bouts. But his main event prediction caught everyone off guard after a tough back-and-forth battle. Asterisk Jake Paul wins by split decision in the 12th round. Asterisk he declared. The Jake Paul boxing experiment rolls on this Saturday as the social media starter and fighter faces former middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This marks Paul's second straight bout against a former world champion, following his November victory over 58-year-old Mike Tyson, though Chavez Jr. is only 39. He's more than a decade removed from his time as a top-tier fighter. Even at his peak, he never came close to matching the legacy of his legendary father, and was often mired in controversy and personal setbacks. Asterisk no. I don't think he's good. I think he tries. He trains hard. But he's not a good fighter. Asterisk. Chavez Jr. said at the final press conference. Asterisk, he's definitely not a good boxer. If he were, then everyone else on this stage would be a legend. I don't think he's a good boxer, and everybody knows it. Asterisk in many ways, Chavez is the ideal Paul opponent. Jake has built his career by defeating aging or past their prime fighters, yet continuing to generate massive interest. After knocking out fellow influencer Anessen Gibb to start his pro journey, Paul followed with victories over retired NBA player Nate Robinson, and a string of ex-UFC fighters like Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley twice, and Anderson Silva, following. A narrow split decision loss to Tommy Fury, Paul returned to facing former MMA fighters. Earning a win over Nate Diaz, he also tested the waters against real boxers like Andre August and Ryan Berland, stopping both in the first round. However, due to their lack of name value, public interest dipped, pushing Paul back toward high-profile, crossover bouts, including a win over bare-knuckle fighter Mike Perry. Paul then moved on to face Mike Tyson, a bout that generated massive box office numbers despite being a dull affair. Paul clearly outboxed Tyson, but appeared hesitant to hurt the boxing legend. That brings us to Paul versus Chavez. Chavez Jr. brings name recognition, past championship experience, and like Paul's previous opponents, is well past his prime. An undersized for a cruiserweight clash. Asterisk, he's a great fighter. I like big names, legendary names, and he's on my path to a world championship. Asterisk, Paul said at the final press conference. Asterisk, this is a tough test. A very tough test. But I'm here to challenge myself. Do big things in the sport and make a title run after I beat him on Saturday. Asterisk, to his credit, Paul was close to securing a fight with Saul Canelo Alvarez before it became apparent that Canelo used the negotiation as leverage before signing a 3-fight deal with Riyadh Season. Now we're back to the typical Paul formula, though this bout arguably presents more risk than his previous MMA opponents. While Chavez may be faded, he has spent his entire life training in the boxing ring, and that's all for now. For the very best updates, moments, events, and action in the world of boxing, stay connected by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss top quality content like this. Until next time, peace.